Romantic Tales. Chapter 89. Get up. Huamin panicked when she saw that Chu had no intention of leaving. Are you sure you're not trying to seduce me by walking up and down the hallway naked in broad daylight? Chu looked at Huamin in amusement, his gaze never leaving her naked body. I thought you weren't home. Who knew you would be home at this hour? Don't you need to go to work? Huamin angrily raised her hand and pointed at Chu, her face full of anger. Chu didn't say anything, his gaze trailed down her plump upper body. Pervert. Huamin suddenly felt like she had been seen naked. Then in the next second she violently pushed Chu away and quickly ran into the bedroom. Chu looked helpless as he muttered to himself, I'm your legal husband, hey Miss Hua? In the bedroom after Huamin changed, she refused to come out of the bedroom. She didn't even know how to face Chu. What happened just now was so embarrassing. There was also that joke that made her cover her face. How stupid was she to be like that? There were only two people in the house. If she covered her face, her body would be seen and she would be exposed. If Zhu Lingling knew about this, she would definitely say, oh my god, are you still the genius with an IQ of 130? I think you've degenerated to the point of dementia in the past 7 years. Most importantly, Huamin thought that Chu had gone to work. Shouldn't the president of GK be very, very busy? Why was he wandering around the house in the middle of the day? Plus, it wasn't the weekend. Could someone tell her what was going on? Chu was indeed supposed to go to work today, but he was worried about Huamin. He was worried that she wouldn't have anything to eat when she woke up. Therefore, he simply used the computer in the study to have a video conference. Then he received the email and processed all the documents for the day. He looked at the time. It was almost noon. Thinking that Huamin might wake up soon, he walked out of the study. Yet he didn't expect to see such an erotic scene. 7 years ago, they had indeed slept together, but they were young and ignorant at that time, so they did not have any good memories. Moreover, both of them were adults. They had been married for many days, but they had not slept together. Now that such a thing had happened, it was a lot more awkward. Of course, it was awkward for Huamin. Chu, on the other hand, felt that this was a good thing. At least today he found out that Huamin was actually so capable. Who would have thought that a seemingly thin and weak body would actually have protruding areas and perky areas? For a moment he really wanted to rush over and push her under his body to bully her. However, he knew that it wasn't the right time yet. Doing so would inevitably scare her. Chu waited in the living room for a long time, but Huamin did not come back. In his heart he guessed that she was embarrassed. Therefore he walked upstairs and knocked on the door. Hey, are you planning on hiding in the bedroom forever? Leave, I'll go out if you leave. Even if I leave, it won't change the fact that I saw you naked. The corners of Chu's lips curled up slightly. Don't say any more. Huamin covered her cheeks. She felt as if her cheeks were on fire. So, you're not planning on having dinner with me? Don't you have to go to work today? Huamin asked helplessly through the door. Yeah, so if you keep hiding there's no point because I'll be home the whole day. How can you be so despicable? Huamin said angrily. I think, if there were cameras in the bathroom that would be despicable, right? Chu said slowly. Huamin was completely speechless. Come out, let's go eat. I'm not eating. Fine, since you're so stubborn, then I'll have to call Wu Zhongxing and tell him that my wife is not going to work. From now on she'll be hiding in the bedroom every day. After speaking, Chu pretended to leave. As expected, Huamin immediately opened the door. Hey, stop right there, who are you to interfere with my work? It's good that you're out. Let's go eat, I'm starving. After speaking, Chu took the lead and went downstairs. Huamin was wearing a set of light yellow sportswear. Her hair was still wet, so it was carelessly loose. However, her get-up made her look much younger. At first glance, one would think that she was a high school student. Inside the Maybach, when Chu saw Huamin's get-up, he stared at her for a few seconds. An imperceptible gentleness flashed across his eyes. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a pretty girl before? Huamin turned her head away, purposely not looking at Chu. Chapter 90. Chu smiled slightly and replied slowly, yeah, I've never seen a beauty who only covers her face without clothes. Hey. Huamin felt so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole in the ground and hide in it. If you don't stop, I'm getting out of the car, Huamin said as he opened the car door. However, Chu grabbed his arm and said, stop messing around. Huamin felt the warmth of Chu's palm through his clothes. Huamin felt his heart race. Then Chu pulled back his hand and focused on driving. The two of them were silent the entire way. 30 minutes later, the car stopped at the food street behind Second High School. Huamin looked at his alma mater and recalled a lot of memories. I heard that this land is going to be occupied. Really? Chu asked casually. It should be this year. Last year, this place was marked for demolition. I heard that the school is going to be moved to the outskirts. Why is the news I received different from yours? I heard that no one is going to move this land. Really? Huamin looked at Chu in disbelief. Yeah, I heard that it has no commercial value and no one wants it. After speaking, Chu turned around and walked into a restaurant. Oxion's Ramanakan was the name of this restaurant. The owner was a Taiwanese called Oxin. He was in his 40s. His wife was a local, so he and his wife moved here 20 years ago. They had a son and a daughter and were very happy. When Chu and Huamin were in high school, they often came here to eat noodles. Huamin came here because the noodles were not only delicious but also very cheap. The ramen only cost 2 yuan a bowl. It was quite a lot. Although the side dish was only chopped green onions, it tasted really good. At first, Chu didn't like the food at the roadside stall and refused to come. Later, he couldn't resist Huamin's temptation and started eating as well. Habit is a scary thing. Once you get used to something, it's hard to change it. Huamin looked at the noodle shop. It looked exactly the same as it did 7 years ago. He felt as if he had traveled back in time. After breaking up with Chu, she basically never came back because she was afraid of touching something deep in her heart. She did not expect Chu to take the initiative to come here. Boss, 2 bowls of ramen please, Chu said. Okay. The enthusiastic boss answered while cooking the noodles. Why are you still standing there? Come here. Chu shouted when he saw Huamin standing at the door in a daze. Only then did Huamin come back to his senses. He slowly walked in and took a seat. Boss, how much is a bowl of your ramen now? Huamin was curious. She guessed that with the current prices, it should be at least $10 a bowl. Unexpectedly, the boss just laughed and said, it's still the same. Huamin was shocked. Yes. But the prices are so high now. Aren't you going to lose money? Huamin was confused. The boss wiped the sweat off his forehead and smiled foolishly. I'm not going to lose money. It's just that I make very little money. Then why don't you raise the price? It's not like everyone can't accept it. Because I don't want to ruin everyone's childhood memories. A lot of kids who graduated from Second High come back to eat here every year. Sometimes I really feel like I'm not selling ramen but the memories of my childhood. Boss, you shouldn't be selling ramen. You should be a writer. You're just like Chu. Huamin laughed. I'm just an uneducated man who doesn't know anything about literature. But my wife said that happiness in this world can't be bought with money. Every time I see you kids saying that you feel happy eating here, I feel like I'm doing something meaningful. I don't think about money anymore. Plus, it's fine as long as I have enough money. Too much money is a problem. It's rare for you to have this kind of insight. Chu looked at the boss and said slowly. The boss just smiled foolishly and didn't say anything else. After a while, 2 bowls of steaming hot ramen were served. Huamin picked up the chopsticks and couldn't wait to take a bite. It was exactly the same as it was back then. It's delicious. Huamin said emotionally. Eat more if it's delicious. Chu looked at Huamin's satisfied face and felt happy. Boss, the bill. After eating like a hurricane, Huamin took the initiative to wave his hand. No need. Chu still has a lot of money left. The boss smiled. Money? You saved money here? When did this happen? Huamin was slightly surprised. 7 years ago. How much did you save? Huamin looked at Chu in disbelief as if he was looking at an alien. Chapter 91. 73,000 yuan. After hearing this answer, Huamin's mouth formed an O shape. Then Chu continued, a bowl of noodles is 2 yuan. If we eat a bowl every day, that's 4 yuan for 2 people. That's 1,460 yuan a year. If we calculate it based on 50 years, that's exactly 73,000 yuan. So you're saying, you saved up 50 years worth of noodles all at once? Huamin wanted to cry but had no tears. I just want to eat ramen with you for the rest of my life. That's all, Chu slowly said as he stared into Huamin's eyes. At this time, the noodle shop owner interrupted. So I promised this kid that if I'm old and can't make ramen anymore, I'll let my child inherit the noodle shop. I'll also help you remember the accounts clearly. You don't have to worry about us not giving you the noodles after taking your money. Huamin quickly explained, Boss, that's not what I meant. I just think, this is too weird. I don't think so. Qin Chu had an innocent look on his face. Okay, pretend I didn't say anything. When they walked out of the noodle shop, Huamin still hadn't calmed down. If a man was willing to eat ramen with you for the rest of his life, did that mean he was willing to be with you for the rest of his life? Would it? Would she and Qin Chu be like this for the rest of their lives? She didn't dare to think about it, nor did she dare to hope. You're so lost in thought. It must have something to do with me. Qin Chu looked at Huamin as he drove. Huamin rolled his eyes at him. Can you be any more arrogant? President Qin? Did I say something wrong? In order to cover his tracks, Huamin immediately changed the topic. Speaking of which, the taste of this ramen shop hasn't changed at all. It's been 7 years. I don't know how he did it, but the price hasn't changed either. What a nice seller. So, you're changing the subject, which means that I was right? You're really... Seeing that Qin Chu didn't give up, Huamin was speechless. Don't think that you can read my mind. Even twins can't guess each other's thoughts all the time, Huamin said as he turned his head away and ignored Qin Chu. Qin Chu only raised the corner of his mouth slightly and didn't say anything else. According to Huamin's request, Qin Chu drove directly to the first hospital. Huamin bought some dinner for Jixin. Jingji was recovering well after the surgery. During the day, his mother would come to take care of him. At night, Huamin would hire a caregiver. That way, they wouldn't be delayed at all. After delivering some food to Jixin and chatting with him for a while, Huamin saw that it was getting late. He was wondering if he should go home or spend the night in the on-call room since he had to work the morning shift tomorrow anyway. Zhu Lingling's call came in at this time. She asked her to have dinner together. Inside a Thai restaurant in the city center, Zhu Lingling was wearing a fiery red dress and looked extremely beautiful. Huamin was still wearing her black dress. Mian, over here. You're early. Huamin chuckled. If I didn't come, I wouldn't have been able to get a table. This pineapple rice restaurant is very authentic, try it later. Okay. Huamin smiled slightly, put down her bag and sat down elegantly. This dress is from Versace. Marrying into a rich family is indeed different. Qin Chu is quite generous. Zhu Lingling was a flight attendant and would take on shopping jobs in private. Therefore she was very sensitive to luxury goods. That's not the point is that I came back to the Hua family to pay my respects, so I wore this black dress. Oh right, tell me about your visit to the Hua family. Was your rich dad surprised to see you? Also, did you see young Master Hua? Wasn't he an elegant, handsome and suave man? Was Hua Yanyan as annoying as before? Zhu Lingling asked with a gossipy smile. Hua Xiqian? An elegant and beautiful man, a handsome and elegant man? Why did Huamin feel like they didn't match at all? You asked so many questions at once, I don't know which one to answer. Huamin quietly picked up her teacup and took a small sip. Okay, then I'll ask you one by one. Did you and Qin Chu consummate your marriage? Zhu Lingling's words almost made Huamin spit out the tea she just drank. Chapter 92. What's with your reaction? Don't tell me you guys haven't done it yet? Zhu Lingling looked surprised. Of course not, we're sleeping in separate rooms. No way. Sleeping in separate rooms? Then what's the point of getting a marriage certificate? Zhu Lingling looked at him with disdain. Just because we're married doesn't mean we have to sleep together. Plus, I only agreed because of Jixin's surgery. But you guys are already husband and wife, that's a fact. Huamin remained silent with a melancholy look on his face. She never thought that things would turn out like this, so she didn't know how to get along with Qin Chu anymore. Okay, let's not talk about those depressing things. What do you think of my new boyfriend? Zhu Lingling turned on her phone and showed Huamin an intimate photo of her and her boyfriend. Will this one last for more than 3 months? Huamin looked worried. This one is rich and talented, I don't think it'll be a problem. I'm going with the goal of getting married. He's a financial genius, I'm serious this time, girl. Hearing Zhu Lingling's confident words, Huamin still felt unsure. You tell me you're serious every time, but it never lasts for more than 3 months. I can't help it, it's not true love. Zhu Lingling rested her chin on her hands and smiled. Okay, did you order? I'm starving. Huamin smiled. I ordered, you're paying the bill today. You're married into a rich family, so I have to rip you off today. Zhu Lingling naughtily stuck out her tongue. Huamin patted his chest. Leave it to me, no problem. Rich people are indeed different. Here's a toast to you, Mr. Rich. I wish you a happy marriage. Let's change the blessing. I don't think this one is reliable. Huamin looked conflicted. Who cares? I'm telling you, Mion, we only live for a few decades. Don't be so hesitant. If you're always afraid, you won't be able to achieve anything in the end. Don't wait until you're old and regret what you didn't do. In my opinion, the relationship between you and Qingqiu is simple. You love him and he still loves you. Just be together and put everything else aside. Hearing this, Huamian smiled bitterly. Lingling, things aren't as simple as you make them out to be. There are some things that you won't be able to empathize with and you won't be able to understand my difficulties. Alright, let's not talk about anything else. It wasn't easy for us to have a meal together, so let's be happy. After speaking, the two women raised their glasses. The meal cost more than 700 yuan. It was indeed a little extravagant. However, after Huamin paid the bill, Zhu Lingling stuffed a big red packet into her hand. Huamin froze. What's the meaning of this? It's a gift for you. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sis, I'm not married yet. But you've already gotten your marriage certificate. You have to be polite. Fine, you win. Huamin had no choice but to accept Zhu Lingling's red packet. It was at least 5,000 yuan. All these years, if there was one thing that made her happy, it was her best friend Zhu Lingling. She was always by her side when she was in trouble. She never left her side. Huamin once thought that friendship could sometimes last longer than love. After eating with Zhu Lingling, Huamin took a taxi back to Imperial Park. Just as she was about to get out of the car, her phone suddenly rang. Miss Hua, I'm Lawyer Luo. What's up? Huamin's expression immediately darkened when she heard that it was Lawyer Luo. Miss Hua, I'm calling to tell you that you don't have to go through the trouble of suing me in court. You're going to settle this privately with a price again, aren't you? Huamin sneered. No, something happened to my client. What? Huamin thought that she heard wrong, so she repeated herself. Chapter 93. Mr. Luo, can you be more specific? I don't quite understand what you mean. Huamin didn't dare to think too much about it. After all, this was the guy who was making a fuss a few days ago. Didn't he say that he had a powerful background, that he was from Enchanting, and that he had relatives who were high-ranking officials? 2 nights ago, something happened to my client's family. He was taken away by the Anti-Corruption Bureau for investigation because he was suspected of corruption. The head of the Ministry of Transportation also came down and said that they would investigate the serial car accident at the university. If convicted, my client Louis Gong will face 5 to 10 years in prison. Oh, isn't that good? That's what they mean by justice has a long arm. Huamin's lips curled up slightly. He thought to himself, retribution comes so quickly, but I'm very confused. Why is it so coincidental that something happened to my client's family and the Ministry of Transportation came down to investigate? The media didn't follow up on this incident too much. So what do you mean? Huamin could tell that there was more to his words. What I mean is, I didn't recognize you before, so I hope Miss Hua won't take it to heart. I didn't know that you had someone powerful backing you up. You were able to shake up the Ministry of Finance in such a short period of time and even command the Ministry of Transportation to arrest people. This kind of power is truly intimidating. I hope Miss Hua can forgive me for my inappropriate words in the past. I'm calling today to apologize to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to invite you to dinner. There's no need for that. I understand what you mean. Since the defendant has been arrested, there's no need for me to sue. However, I don't quite understand what you mean by someone powerful. Some things don't need to be said so clearly. Anyway, Miss Hua is very lucky. You're also someone I can't afford to offend. Please forgive me if I offended you in any way. After hanging up the phone, Huamin had a faint premonition in her heart. She had never told Qingqiu about this incident. Could it be that Qingqiu was involved? Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that the victim was taken away by the Ministry of Transportation to investigate the accident? Everything was going according to her wishes. If this was the will of the heavens, if the heavens had eyes, she couldn't convince herself. With a heavy heart, Huamin returned to Imperial Park. Qingqiu hadn't come back yet because he had been working overnight. After Huamin came back, he became obsessed with cleanliness. He wiped the entire living room with a mop. When he was done, he was already sweating profusely. She was just about to get up and take a shower when she heard the sound of a key unlocking the door. Then he became slightly nervous. It was strange. He clearly knew that it could only be Chin-Chu and no one else. But why was he still inexplicably nervous? "You're not on night duty today?" She didn't know when it started, but Chin-Chu seemed to remember Huamin's shift schedule better than she did. "No, I just had dinner with Lingling and came back." Chin-Chu nodded and didn't say anything. He looked a little tired. He took off his coat and went upstairs to the bedroom. "Did you have dinner?" "I did." Chin-Chu stopped and turned around to look at Huamin. "Oh." Huamin was a little distracted. "Do you have something to say to me?" Seeing Huamin's worried expression, Chin-Chu raised his eyebrows and asked. "Yes." "Okay, go ahead." Chin-Chu turned around and walked back down the stairs. He sat down on the sofa. "About my brother's car accident. Do you know the person who caused it?" Huamin looked at Chin-Chu's expression and asked tentatively. "Mion, don't test me. Just ask me what you want to ask. You know how well I know you." Chin-Chu stared into Huamion's eyes, word by word, as if he was trying to see through her. Chapter 94. Seeing this, Huamin took a deep breath, walked over and said, "Okay, if that's the case, then I'll get straight to the point. Something happened to the family of the culprit who hit my brother. You might not know this, but I was planning to sue them. However, the lawyer said that I don't need to because the culprit was taken away by the Transportation Bureau. His parents, who have a powerful background, were also detained by the Ministry of Finance for investigation. I don't need to sue them anymore." "So?" Chin-Chu looked at Huamin meaningfully and continued to ask. "I don't believe that these are coincidences, nor do I believe in karma. I think that someone is behind this and I can't think of anyone else besides you. So if you already know it's me, then why are you still asking? Don't you already know the answer? I just want to hear you admit it yourself." Huamin was a little emotional. "I asked someone to do it, isn't it good? Otherwise you won't be able to win the lawsuit. You know how ridiculous your actions are." Chin-Chu took out a lighter from his pocket and played with it absent-mindedly with his head down. "I know it's ridiculous and I know that you're doing this for my own good. But Mr. Chin-Chu, can you please tell me before you do anything for my own good? Otherwise I'll look like an idiot who prepared a lot of documents to sue you." Seeing Huamin's anger, Chin-Chu slowly raised his head. "I thought you'd be happy if I did this. You didn't do anything wrong. Those people deserved it, but I have the right to know. I don't want to act like an ignorant child in front of you. Don't always pretend to be a savior. You can't save me. You couldn't save me 7 years ago and you can't save me now." Then, without waiting for him to respond, Huamian turned around and went upstairs, not giving him a chance to speak. Chin-Chu looked at the petite figure of Huamian walking away with a lonely expression on his face. Then he muttered to himself, "Mian, I just thought that if there's no justice in this world, I'll make one for you." Unfortunately, Huamin didn't hear this. In fact, the relationship between two people was very complicated. Because people had different personalities, it led to many misunderstandings. There were some words and some people that she wouldn't understand if you didn't tell her. There were some things and some people that she wouldn't understand even if you told her. There were also some words and people that you didn't say but she understood. On the other hand, Chin-Chu thought that he was being nice to Huamin, so he acted on his own initiative. On the other hand, Huamin felt that he didn't know anything about this. He felt as if his pride had been hurt. Huamin returned to his room. He didn't sleep well the whole night and was in a very bad mood. The next morning, she woke up at 6 in the morning and prepared to go to work early to avoid meeting the two of them. However, she still met Chin-Chu in the living room. "You're early." Chin-Chu was wearing a white shirt and had 2 glasses of milk in his hands. Her answer was obviously perfunctory. "Have some breakfast before you go." "It's okay, I'm not hungry." After speaking, Huamin opened the door and walked out. The first hospital, Huamin helped Jixin get discharged from the hospital and then called a taxi to take him home. "Mom, the doctor said that Jixin still needs to rest for a month. I've already talked to the school. You might have to work a little harder and make him more nourishing ginseng soup. It'll help with his recovery." "I know, I don't need you to tell me that," Yang Merong said in annoyance. "Sis, why don't you eat before you leave? I want to have lunch with you." Jing Jixin smiled brightly. "It's okay, I still have things to do at the hospital. I'll go back first. I'll come see you when I get some rest." After speaking, Huamin walked out and Yang Merong followed him out. This was an abandoned suburb of Sea City. Because it hadn't been developed, there were many bungalows and most of the people living here were ordinary people. After Huamin's grandparents passed away, Yang Mirong, as the only child, inherited the property rights to the house. It was a small courtyard house with east and west wings, and an old elm tree in front of the door. Although it was old, it was clean and tidy. Yang Mirong ran a small supermarket in front of the door to make ends meet. After living here for so many years, Huamin had developed some feelings for this place. Wait, I have something to ask you. Yang Mirong suddenly ran out from behind him and shouted. Chapter 95. Huamin turned around and saw her mother running after her. Mom, what's up? Did that bastard say anything when you went? Yang Mirong asked with a dark expression. Huamin immediately realized who her mother was talking about, so she quietly replied, he asked me if I've been doing well all these years. Bullshit, if I was doing well, why would I open a small supermarket in this godforsaken place? That heartless bastard. Yang Mirong's face was filled with anger. Huamin also remained silent. I mean, didn't he ask you to work at the Hua Corporation or something? After all, you're his daughter. Oh, he did. He asked me if I wanted to go back and I refused, Huamin said honestly. What? You refused? Are you an idiot? Yang Mirong pushed Huamin so hard that she almost fell to the ground. Mom, you know we've been doing well all these years even without him. No, we haven't been doing well. Which one of your eyes saw us doing well? If you were doing well, you wouldn't be studying at a local medical school with good grades. But you can't even be a doctor and can only be an intern nurse. If you were doing well, Jixin would be in a car accident and have to borrow money from everywhere. Do you think I would open a small supermarket in this godforsaken place to make a living? Yang Mirong was a little emotional. But Mom, at least we've been living peacefully these years. If you were to live a luxurious life while living in a world of scheming, would you be willing to do that? Her mother remained silent after hearing this. When I went back this time, I saw the fight between those two women and the conspiracy between their children. I don't think there's anything crueler than that. All that's left between family members is profit. Do you want me to become like that? Then at least you'll have money and we won't have to suffer. I have money too, I can earn it. Mom, don't worry, I'll make sure you and Jixin live a good life. I won't go back to the Hua family, even if you beat me or scold me. That's all. Huamin was resolute. No matter what Yang Mirong said, she would never go back to the Hua family. When this girl was stubborn, even 10 old cows couldn't pull her back. Huamin left the house and went straight back to the first hospital for duty. Qin Chu, on the other hand, spent the entire day at GK headquarters, looking extremely depressed. Boss isn't in a good mood today. You guys better work hard and don't make any mistakes, okay? Assistant Yang whispered to the female secretaries in the secretarial office. I think it's okay. No matter if the president is happy or not, he seems to be the same. He doesn't show his emotions on his face. Speaking of which, Assistant Yang, how can you tell? If I can't even tell this much, then wouldn't I be an assistant for nothing? Anyway, be careful and don't cause any trouble. After that, Yang knocked on the door and walked into the president's office. CO Qin, the schedule for the afternoon is as follows. You have to meet with a client from Thailand at 2 o'clock. Then you have to play golf with CO Jing from Tianhe Trade at 4:30. After that, you have to attend a charity banquet at 6 o'clock. Got it, Qin Chu replied casually. President Qin, do you have a date for the charity banquet? Yang asked tentatively. No. Should we? Assistant Yang didn't get to finish his sentence before Qin Chu choked on his words. No need. Okay, then I'll go now, Yang said as he walked out of the office. He was still wondering why the president didn't seem right this morning. First of all, he didn't drive that low-key white Volkswagen CC anymore. Instead, he switched to an extremely high-profile Maybach, which was extremely eye-catching. Second of all, the president's office wasn't playing Milk Tea's song. Instead, it was playing a sad English song. Therefore, he boldly speculated that the president wasn't in a good mood. Could it be that he had a fight with his lover? Just as he was thinking, he heard the president's voice from behind him. Wait. President Qin, is there something else? If a woman is mad at you, how can you reconcile with her? Reconcile? Yang was confused. President Qin, do you mean how to make her happy? Yang asked uncertainly. That's pretty much it, Qin Chu said as he typed furiously on the keyboard of his laptop. So, President Qin, did you make your girlfriend angry? Xiaoyang asked again, not afraid of death. Then the president shot him a murderous look. Chapter 96. I didn't hire you to dig into my personal affairs. Yes, I understand, boss. What I mean is, I have to know the reason before I can help you draw a conclusion. After all, I've been there before. I chased my wife for 3 years, dated her for 2 years and finally got married after 5 years. My wife is a very emotional woman, so I'm very experienced in coaxing women. Assistant Yang said with a smile. Tell me, I'm listening. Send her flowers, 99 roses, to where she works. Vulgar, Qin Chu said coldly. Then buy her a gift, a luxury diamond ring or something. These girls love it so much that they can't put it down. He doesn't. Qin Chu knew Huamin too well. She didn't care about material things. Then pretend to send her a package and then hide in the box to give her a surprise. Last time I scared my wife to tears. Before Assistant Yang could finish, he swallowed back his words. Because he noticed that the president's expression was getting worse and worse. You can leave first, I need some time alone. Qin Chu really suspected that this assistant wasn't here to help him but to set him up. How did he get a wife with his IQ? It was an unsolved mystery. Hey boss. After Assistant Yang left, he suddenly thought of something. Was the president's girlfriend called Jing Jing? He just said that he wanted some time alone. However, he was right about one thing. His boss did miss someone, but that person wasn't called Jing Jing. Qin Chu picked up his phone a few times. He wanted to call her, but he felt that they were in a cold war, so it wasn't appropriate. If he called, there wouldn't be anything to say. Suppressing the longing in his heart, he tapped his right hand on the table in frustration. He looked very depressed. Gao Ran's call came at the perfect time. Hey, how come I haven't heard from you since I helped you last time? Shouldn't you buy me a drink? Go. Now. Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Sit now. I'll see you later at the old Sichuan restaurant in the south of the city. After that, Qin Chu put on a sapphire blue slim-fit suit jacket, opened the door and walked out with his phone. The female secretaries in the secretarial office were instantly infatuated. Boss, your outfit today is so cool, don't you think so? It's not the clothes that are too cool. It's our boss's good looks, so everything he wears is pleasing to the eye. Yeah, I don't have to talk to the boss every day. I'm satisfied just by looking at him a few times. I wonder what kind of woman could catch the boss eye. I'm so envious. In a Sichuan restaurant. In a private room on the second floor, Gao Ran and Qin Chu sat opposite each other. You don't seem to be in a good mood. Gao Ran spoke first. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just poured 2 glasses of white wine and handed one to Gao Ran and the other to himself. Then he lifted the cup and raised it. Gao Ran knew what he was thinking and downed it in one gulp. This wine is so strong. It doesn't matter if it's red wine or foreign wine. I think the white wine brewed from China's grain is the best. After 3 glasses I feel like I'm on fire. So refreshing. You have a lot of free time recently? Qin Chu raised his head and glanced at him. Yeah, we criminal police only handle big cases. Those trivial matters are handled by the local police station. It has nothing to do with us. That's good too. I'm quite envious of you. You can have a job and live peacefully until you're old. I'm envious of you. Sitting on a big boss with a net worth of hundreds of billions. Do you have beautiful women throwing themselves at you every day? Aran, I'm married. Qin Chu's lips twitched into a deep smile. Fortunately, he had already swallowed the mouthful of white wine. Otherwise, Gao Ran would have spat it out. Chapter 97. Wait, what did you just say? Married. Stop fooling around, it's not April Fool's Day today. Gao Ran obviously didn't believe him. I'm not joking. But, your marriage is such a big deal, how come I didn't know about it? The media didn't report it either, it doesn't make sense. We only got our marriage certificate, we didn't have a wedding. Plus, she didn't want to announce our marriage to the public. You're with Huamin, right? Gao Ran asked tentatively after he came back to his senses. Qin Chu nodded. You're going to be stuck with this woman for the rest of your life. I really don't know what's so good about her. She was so arrogant when she was in school. Yeah, she hurt you so much back then. If it were me, I would have found someone better than her to get back at her. But in my eyes, there's no one better than her in this world. When Qin Chu said this, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Fine, 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 don't say such mushy things to me. But you're too hasty. Marriage is such a big deal, why didn't you think about it carefully? Gao Ran felt like the news that Qin Chu brought him was like a sudden clap of thunder. It was so explosive that he almost couldn't think straight. Marrying her was something that I decided on 7 years ago. There's no need to think about it anymore. Qin Chu's answer was extremely firm. But Chu, people change. The Huamin from 7 years ago might not be the same person 7 years later. No matter how she changes, she's still Huamin. That's good. Gao Ran's eyes turned red when he heard what she said. He raised his wine glass and said, I'm a fucking man. If I were a woman, I would definitely shamelessly cling on to you. There are so few people in the world who are as loyal and rich as you right now. They're even rarer than national treasures. Qin Chu remained silent after hearing this. Gao Ran suddenly asked under the influence of alcohol, Bro, tell me the truth. What kind of bet did you make with your dad 7 years ago? I'm really curious. Qin Chu raised his head and slowly replied, 7 years ago, I told my dad that I wanted to marry Huamin. He said yes, but you have to go abroad and come back to take over the family business in GK. He also said that you're not allowed to come back for 7 years, and you're not allowed to contact anyone in the country, especially Huamin. Otherwise, it would be considered a breach of contract. If I did that, then 7 years later if I came back unmarried and neither Huamin was married, he would agree to our marriage. Oh my god, so this is the reason why you left without saying a word? Gao Ran was surprised. Qin Chu looked out of the window and his eyes became deep and serene. 7 years ago, I was still young and did not have the qualifications to provide her with the best conditions. If we were blindly together, it would only lead to a tragedy. It would be better for me to bear the pain of this temporary separation for these 7 years in exchange for a lifetime with her. Gao Ran's eyes were filled with shock. Qin Chu, does she know what you're doing? He doesn't know. Oh my god, this woman, she doesn't know anything. You're really... Gao Ran didn't know what to say. He felt that Qin Chu's stubbornness was beyond normal. Chu, I think you're paranoid. I suggest you see a doctor, it's not good for you. Even if I'm paranoid, I'm only paranoid about her. I don't care about anything else. After staring at Qin Chu for a long time, Gao Ran said meaningfully, Huamin is really lucky. But I don't think she'll agree to marry you so easily as far as I know. Gao Ran knew what kind of person Huamin was, and he also knew about the grudge between them 7 years ago. That's right, that's why I threatened her. When she needed my help, I brought up this condition. But, aren't you afraid that she'll hate you for doing this? Gao Ran looked at his buddy, his eyes full of sympathy. After hearing this, Qin Chu's eyes darkened slightly. Chapter 98. One day she'll understand. After speaking, Qin Chu picked up the white wine glass in his hand and downed it in one gulp. Gao Ran originally wanted to drink with his good friend to relieve his worries, but he didn't expect to be even more worried. When they came out, Qin Chu was supporting Gao Ran. He seemed to be a little drunk. Chu, let me tell you, Huamin, that damned girl, has a twisted personality. If you like her, you'll suffer. But I'm so envious of you to have someone like her appear in your life and occupy your entire life. You can love her to the core. Sigh, I'm so envious. Gao Ran said drunkenly. In the end, it was Qin Chu who drove Gao Ran back to the municipal bureau in his Maybach. Apparently he was on duty for the rest of the night. At the municipal bureau, a few police officers began gossiping. Hey, the guy who drove our boss back just now, he's obviously our boss's good friend. Yeah, he's really good looking. Even a man like me is jealous. Our boss doesn't have a girlfriend, is it because he likes men? I don't think so, but our boss is so masculine. If he were gay, he'd probably be the dominant one. Have you guys been too idle lately? All of you go out on missions. Gao Ran appeared at the door with his head in his hands. He wanted to drink some water, but he didn't want to hear his subordinates talking about their boss like that. Ah, boss, we're just joking. But speaking of which, your friend's car is really cool. You must be from a rich family, right? More than that, he's so rich that you won't be able to spend it all in your lifetime. Gao Ran took a sip of water and replied, Boss, does your friend have a girlfriend? My third sister is 27 this year and she graduated with a master's degree. Before the police officer could finish, Gao Ran flicked his head. Hey, old song, didn't you say last time that you wanted to keep your third sister for Captain Gao? Another police officer interrupted. Gao Ran felt like his head was about to explode. Huamin had been busy in the hospital for the whole day. From time to time he would take out his phone to check the time. Today his phone was exceptionally quiet. There was not a single phone call. It seemed that she had spoken too harshly last night. Perhaps he was angry too? Huamin thought. Then she got up and went to the lounge to get some water. Unexpectedly, she bumped into Ning Xuan as soon as she stepped out of the door. Mion. Ning Xuan's face was slightly red and reeked of alcohol. Is something the matter? I came specially to look for you. He stepped forward. Huamin instinctively took 2 steps back to put some distance between them. What is it? Speak. Are you still unwilling to forgive me? Xuan, we've already talked about this topic. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Huamin looked at him calmly. Mion, but I can't let you go. I feel like I still can't forget you. Ning Xuan's eyes were red as if he was about to cry. Xuan, we're not kids anymore. Don't be like this. I know I was wrong. Mion, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. This is the last chance, okay? Let's not talk about the past. Let's stick to our original plan and get married, okay? I'll pay you back the down payment for the house. You don't have to pay for the mortgage in the future. Also, I'll let you drive my car and transfer it to your name, okay? That's not the point. No, we can't go back. Some things have already happened and I can't pretend that I didn't know. It's like you stabbed someone. Although the wound has healed, the scar is still there. Do you understand? I don't understand. I miss you. I don't want to be separated from you. After speaking, Ning Xuan drunkenly pounced on Huamin. He slammed Huamin onto the table behind him. Ningxin, what are you doing? Let go of me. Huamin struggled with all his might. However, no matter what Huamin said, Ning Xuan ignored him and kissed Huamin's slightly red lips. Chapter 99. At this critical moment, Huamin grabbed a ceramic pen holder from the table behind her and threw it at Ning Xuan's head. With a clang, Ning Xuan abruptly stopped what he was doing. He was completely stunned. Huamin took advantage of his shock to escape from his demonic grasp and dodged to the side. Mion, how dare you hit me? Ning Xuan sneered, his eyes filled with anger. This is all thanks to you, Xuan. There is no deep love between us, so there is no hatred. You've been so kind to me these past few years and I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything? Huamin, I've been chasing you for the past few days. I've bought you a lot of things and cared about you a lot, haven't I? Do you still have a conscience when you say that? Have you been eaten by a dog? You heartless woman. Ning Xuan covered his slightly swollen forehead with a sinister smile. Huamian was calm the entire time. She looked at Ning Xuan with a complicated expression, but there was also some sympathy in her eyes. Yeah, you really bought a lot of things for me these few days. But all those things added together shouldn't be more than 30,000 yuan, right? And I used the 60,000 yuan I saved to buy a house for you as the down payment. The house was also written in your name. Now I don't want that money anymore. Isn't this even? In the end, who owes who? Even if you don't owe me money, what about love? Was that something that could be measured with money? Can you pay me back for all the love I've given you over the past few years? Ning Ziyuan roared. Huamin only smiled faintly at his words. Yuan, we've known each other for so long, you should know that I'm not a calculative person. But since we're talking about this today, I might as well get straight to the point. These past few days, honestly speaking, you've been very good to me, but I've also been very good to you. I've been visiting your parents a lot, and when your relatives came to the hospital for treatment, not only did I have to use my connections to arrange a room for them, but I also had to work part-time as a caregiver. This is all because of you. Most importantly, Ningxun, let me ask you, if it weren't for me, would you be where you are today? Would you be standing here as a doctor at the first hospital, safe and sound? What do you mean by that? Ning Ziyuan was obviously a little guilty. What I mean is, you wouldn't have been able to graduate from medical school with your grades. I wrote your graduation thesis for you, and because of your excellent ophthalmology thesis, the first hospital's ophthalmology professor made an exception and promoted you. Plus, you've been working for so long and I've been writing every academic document for you. Is that not enough? Tell me, what do I owe you now? After Ning Ziyuan heard this, he was speechless. If Huamin didn't remind him, he would have thought that he was an excellent ophthalmologist. However, Huamin did all of this for him. Back then, his grades in medical school were very average. Even when he was nearing graduation due to the pressure, he often skipped classes to play online games with his roommates. In the end, he almost couldn't graduate. Even the most important graduation thesis was written by Huamin himself. It was because of that excellent thesis that he had the opportunity to enter the first hospital. After that, every time the hospital tested him, Huamin would prepare for him. He enjoyed the fruits of his labor and accepted the title of a genius doctor with a clear conscience. But was he a genius? Of course not, there was someone else who was a genius. It was just that no one knew about it. Then what do you want? Do you want to report me to the hospital? No one will believe you. After all, there's no evidence, Ning Ziyuan said proudly. Huamin's eyes were filled with disappointment when she heard this. She didn't know that a former lover could be so despicable after falling out. Evidence? Of course I have it. You have it? I don't believe you. You trusted me so much back then. You wouldn't have left any evidence. Although Ning Ziyuan said this, he was still a little flustered. Chapter 100. Hasi. Even you know how much I trusted you back then, so why are you still feeling guilty? What are you afraid of? Tell on you? I don't have the time, nor do I need to. After all, it won't do me any good. I just want to say, Ziyuan, even though we've broken up, we're not enemies. After all, we were once together and we won't be friends because we hurt each other. I admit that Qin Chu's unexpected intervention broke our relationship, but what you did after that really disappointed me. So, we won't cross paths again and you don't need to have any more fantasies. I believe that with your current fame and status, you have plenty of good girls. You don't need me, Huamin, right? Of course, Ning Ziyuan immediately replied. Very well, I won't pursue what happened today, but this won't happen again. Please leave now and turn left. I won't see you out, Huamin sternly ordered him to leave. Ning Ziyuan covered his injured forehead, turned around and walked to the door dejectedly. Suddenly he turned around and looked at Huamin. Huamin immediately became alert. Huamin, now that things have come to this, I want to ask you something from the bottom of my heart. I've never loved anyone, Huamin coldly said. Okay, I understand. Ning Ziyuan bitterly smiled, turned around and left. Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. She didn't think that Ning Ziyuan would suddenly come and cause such a scene. Luckily, there was no one else in the consultation room, or else it would have been so embarrassing. Not long after, the little nurse Huang Yu walked in. When she saw the pen holder on the floor, she exclaimed, "Oh my God, what happened? My poor pen holder. I'm sorry, I accidentally broke something just now. I'll buy you a new one." Huang Yu pouted, looking wronged. "And a meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken," Huamin immediately added, knowing the nature of the young nurse. "Okay, deal." Huang Yu immediately smiled. "Speaking of which, senior sister, you've been very generous recently. You can even treat me to KFC. Tell me, did you get rich?" "No. If I were rich, I would have resigned long ago." "Then are you hooking up with a rich man?" Huang Yu asked mysteriously. Huamin thought for a while. Was Qin Chu a tycoon? That shouldn't be the case. He's already considered a billionaire, right? Therefore he shook his head. "I don't have a sugar daddy." "Oh, then I understand. Your brother's case is over. The perpetrator must have paid a lot of money, right?" Huang Yu giggled. "Yes, that's right." Huamin was really afraid that this girl would ask more questions, so he just nodded vaguely. However, the truth was she didn't get a single cent from Jixin's case. The other victims all received money. She originally wanted to sue the court and get hospitalization fees. However, she didn't expect that in the end, because of Qin Chu's intervention, that brat and his family were all in trouble. They were already in jail. What compensation could they get? In short, this time Jixin was fine. That was the biggest relief. "Oh right, it's lunchtime. Let's go to the cafeteria. If we're late, there won't be any good food." Before Huamin could say anything, Huang Yu pulled Huamin and hurriedly walked towards the cafeteria. The hospital's cafeteria was located on the second basement floor. It was only open to the hospital's medical staff. However, most doctors didn't eat here. Because of their high salaries, they ordered takeout with their own money. Interns like Huamin and Huang Yu, on the other hand, didn't get paid much and didn't get many subsidies. That was why they ate here. It was lunchtime. There were a lot of people, but the environment was very good. Huang Yu and Huamin found a corner facing each other. Just as they were about to sit down, they heard a female voice shout very impolitely, "Huamin, you bitch, come out." Chapter 101. Senior Hua, I think someone's calling for you. I heard it too, Huamin said quietly. Huamin, where are you? Come out. The hysterical female voice came from a woman who was also wearing a white lab coat. Her long hair was wavy and she was quite pretty. She was wearing flirtatious makeup and looked extremely upset. Senior Hua over there. Isn't that the nurse from the ophthalmology department? Huang Yu pointed at the door. Huamin turned around. When he saw He-Man, his expression remained calm. At this moment He-Man seemed to have noticed Huamin as well. She walked directly towards him with a menacing look on her face. Senior Hua, I don't think anything good is going to happen. You should be careful, Huang Yu reminded her quietly. Huamin nodded but didn't say anything. Huamin, get up. Do you need something? Of course I do. Do you think I'm here to have a heart-to-heart talk with you? Sorry, I don't have time for a heart-to-heart talk. I don't know you that well. Huamin sat down and continued eating, ignoring He-Man. He-Man was furious. She pointed at Huamin and yelled, Stop pretending. Tell me, are you bothering my Xion again? Xion? When did this happen? He-Man was slightly stunned. Then she said, Don't pretend you don't know. Ning Xion and I have been together for a long time. Didn't you already know that? Huamin nodded slightly. Then he replied thoughtfully, Oh, so you were the one who was having sex with him in his bedroom last weekend? What, last weekend? He-Man's expression was a little ugly. It wasn't you? Could it be? Huamin continued to ask. Of course, it was me. He-Man's words were a little forced. Anyone could tell. Since you knew that we were together, why did you go looking for him? Didn't you guys break up? Yes, I went to ask him for the down payment of 60,000 yuan. We planned to get married, so I also paid for the house. Really? I've never heard Xion mention it. He-Man said arrogantly. Really? That's a pity. It seems that you haven't progressed to the stage of building a house yet. You don't try to twist words and force logic. He-Man was at a loss for words. Originally, she had come here arrogantly to denounce Huamin, but she didn't expect that the usually gentle Huamin would be so eloquent. Every word he said made sense. She didn't know what to say. Let me ask you, did you injure Xion's head? Yeah. What right do you have? Is my Xion someone a woman like you can lay your hands on? You're just an ex-girlfriend who was dumped. What right do you have to ask about Xion? I knew it. You must have been trying to pester him, but he didn't want to get back together. That's why you hit him, right? Huamin's eyes turned cold. She slowly raised her head and asked, Is that what Ning Xion told you? Xion didn't say, but that's what I guessed. Everyone in the hospital knows what kind of person you are. Senior, you're a good person. Everyone in the OB/GYN department knows that, Huang Yu interjected. This is none of your business. Shut up. He-Man pointed at Huang Yu and scolded her fiercely. Are you done with your nonsense? If you're done, then leave. We're still eating. I don't want to lose my appetite because of this. Huamin ordered her to leave. She didn't want to continue with He-Man's unreasonable pestering. Huamin felt like a clown because everyone was looking at her. This wasn't in line with Huamin's usual low-key personality. Eat. What are you eating? I'll let you eat, you bitch. After speaking, He-Man flipped Huamin's plate in front of everyone. Rice and vegetable soup spilled all over the floor. Some even sprayed onto Huamin's white lab coat. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one expected He-Man to do something so extreme. Chapter 102. After a moment of silence, Huamin asked word by word, Didn't anyone tell you that wasting food is shameful? So, He-Man looked at Huamin provocatively. So, whoever wastes food should finish it, Huamin said as he picked up Huang Yu's plate, covered it with He-Man's white coat and threw it at her. In an instant, rice and vegetable soup were all over He-Man's body. Oh my senior sister, you're so awesome. Huang Yu quietly stood up and gave her a thumbs up. Huamin, how dare you treat me like this? He-Man was a little dumbfounded. I'm not your mother, why would I spoil you? Huamin didn't think much of it. I'm going to beat you to death, you bitch. He-Man swung her hand with all her strength. However, her hand stopped 5 centimeters away from Huamin. Huamin quickly reached out and grabbed her wrist with all his strength. If you want to be a monkey, go to the plaza in the city center. This is a hospital, please pay attention to your image. After he spoke, Huamin shoved He-Man away, grabbed Huang Yu's hand and left. At that moment He-Man was terrified. She didn't even dare to chase after them because her wrist was red from Huamin's grip. That woman looked thin and weak, but she was terrifyingly strong. Oh my God, what's going on? Isn't that woman a nurse from the ophthalmology department? Yeah, I heard that she hooked up with an intern from the ophthalmology department. That doctor is pretty handsome, but he said that he has a girlfriend, and that she's a nurse from the OB/GYN department. Isn't that the mistress and the first wife fighting? The other nurses all whispered amongst themselves. He-Man also felt embarrassed, so she left the cafeteria with a dark face. Ophthalmology department Yuan, are you okay? He-Man asked worriedly as she looked at Ning Yuan's slightly red forehead. Let me ask you, who told you to look for Huamin? I'm just standing up for you. Who asked you to take care of the injustice for me? Why are you causing trouble for me? Ning Yuan was quite angry when he heard about the restaurant. Huamin, what right does she have to treat you like that? That's between me and her. Don't go looking for Huamin in the future. Otherwise, you'll disappear from my sight immediately. After glaring at He-Man, Ning Yuan got up and left. He-Man didn't feel good about it. At the same time, she had a question that she didn't understand. Since Ning Yuan and Huamin had already broken up, who was the woman that Huamin saw at Ning Yuan's house last weekend? Of course it wasn't her. She had been on duty for an entire day and night last weekend. She hadn't even been to Ning Yuan's house. Could it be that Huamin was lying? To ruin her relationship with Yuan? But it didn't seem like a lie. The restaurant dispute was originally a small matter. However, someone recorded a short video of it and spread it to every department in the first hospital. The seemingly gentle intern nurse Huamin became famous because of it. She was given the title of Hot Little Nurse. Male doctors and male assistants and even male colleagues from the office came to see this young nurse with their own eyes. Some of the bolder ones even courted her and sent her flowers. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Looking at the table full of chocolates and flowers, Huamin was speechless. Senior, what should we do? You're famous now. Where's the hot little nurse? Hot? I'm not. I'm more like a tomboy. Huamin was speechless. So, is there anyone that you like among these people? I think the deputy director of the radiology department is pretty good. He's 30 years old, 178 meters tall, drives a BMW and apparently comes from a good family. He looks like the Korean actor Song Sung-sien. Are you sure you don't want to consider him? Huang Yu looked envious. Chapter 103. No need for that, he's not my type. Senior sister, you have such high standards. Tell me, what type do you like? I can introduce you to someone suitable. You don't even have a boyfriend. Huamin looked helpless. That's because I'm picky. Oh right, if you don't like him, can you give me the contact of that male radiologist? Sure. After speaking, Huamin pushed all the fresh flowers to Huang Yu. They're all here. You can pick whichever one you like. Thank you, senior sister. Huang Yu's face was filled with excitement. Just then, the door to the consultation room opened and the head nurse walked in with a stern face. Huamin, come with me. Yes. Oh no. Looks like even the old witch knows about this. You have to be careful. Huang Yu looked at her sympathetically. Huamin also felt her scalp go numb. She didn't think that her fight with He-Man in the staff cafeteria would cause such a huge commotion. It looked like the head nurse already knew about it. The head nurse hated this kind of gossip, especially when there was a personal problem at work. It looked like she was going to be scolded in the corridor around the corner of the stairs. The head nurse called Huamin to the side. Do you know why I'm looking for you? The head nurse had a stern look on her face. Huamin nodded guiltily. Since you know, then I'll get straight to the point. I heard that you broke up with that ophthalmologist, right? Yes. So the person you scolded that day in the cafeteria was the third party? The head nurse questioned. I wasn't scolding you, head nurse. He-Man provoked me first. I was just eating quietly, really. Not bad, well done. The head nurse patted Huamin's shoulder and smiled. Huamin froze on the spot. What was going on? You embarrassed the OB/GYN department. Well done. Let them know that the OB/GYN department is not to be trifled with. He's not a pushover who can be bullied by you. Yes. Huamin sweated. There's one more thing I want to tell you. Go ahead, head nurse, Huamin said respectfully, as if he could do whatever she wanted with him. Aren't you single now? I happen to have a distant cousin who works in this city. He's a very nice person and he's about the same age as you. Most importantly, he's also in the medical field. He's a forensic doctor. I think you two are quite suitable, so I plan to let you two meet next week. Head nurse, are you trying to introduce a boyfriend to me? Yes, the young nurses in our hospital are too unreliable. You're about the same age, but you're steady and low-key, so I think you're the most suitable for my cousin. Don't worry about his family background. He has a house and a car, and his parents are doing business in the South. After marriage, you'll live alone. But, head nurse, I already have a boyfriend that someone introduced to me. So soon? The head nurse was clearly surprised. Huamin didn't dare to tell her that he was married. He didn't want to scare the head nurse, so he lied and said that someone introduced him. Yes, that's why I can't eat from the bowl and look at the pot. Thank you for your kindness. It's okay. You're single now, so you need to be trained and selected. That's settled. I'll arrange a time for you two to meet next week. Okay, I'm going back to work. Hey, head nurse. No matter how much Huamin shouted, the head nurse wouldn't listen. But the problem was he was already married. Was it really okay for him to go on a blind date? If a certain someone found out, would he strangle him to death? The Cold War lasted for a day and a night, but neither of them called or texted. Felt weird. Seeing that his phone was silent, Huamin felt slightly disappointed. It seemed like he wasn't that important to Chin-Chu after all. With these lonely thoughts, Huamin got off work, packed up and went home. Because she worked overtime until 10 at night, it was already very late when she got home. When she was downstairs, she purposely looked up and saw that the 16th floor was dark. It seemed like Chin-Chu hadn't come home yet. After she got upstairs, she gently took out her keys and opened the door. Then she walked in. Before she could steady herself, she was violently pushed against the wall. Then someone bit down on her lips. At that moment, she was so scared that she almost stopped breathing. Chapter 104. If she wasn't so familiar with Chin-Chu's scent, she really would have used force. Chin-Chu, let go of me. She was a little nervous. Chin-Chu didn't say anything. He just hugged Huamin tightly and leaned his head against her ear. His heavy breathing made Huamin's heart itch unbearably. A strong smell of alcohol filled the air. Huamin frowned slightly. Did you drink? She asked. Chin-Chu still didn't say anything. After he finished drinking with Gao Ran and returned home, he took out his precious Chateau Lafite from the wine cabinet and drank an entire bottle by himself. He missed Huamin even more. For the past 7 years he had endured it all by himself. But now with Huamin by his side he couldn't even last 24 hours. That's why people say that the scariest thing is habit. Because he was already used to having her by his side, he couldn't stand being alone for even a moment. Chin-Chu, let go of me first. You're drunk. Huamin couldn't move as he hugged her so tightly. No. After a while, Chin-Chu stubbornly said 2 words. Chin-Chu, what do you want? What do you think I want? Chin-Chu pinched Huamin's chin with one hand and stared at the side of her face. In an instant, a flirtatious atmosphere filled the entire room. Huamin pursed her lips. She didn't know how to answer. Chin-Chu looked at Huamin, who was so close to him and couldn't suppress the impulse in his heart. His other hand moved restlessly up and down her back. Did he know what he wanted? And she knew what he wanted? Chin-Chu, don't be like this. I'm not ready yet. After speaking, Huamin violently pushed him away. Chin-Chu's body swayed and fell on the sofa behind him. I'm sorry. Huamin turned his head away, not looking into his eyes. Why are you apologizing? Chin-Chu looked at her and asked word by word. She didn't know how to answer. I should be the one apologizing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done those things behind your back. I just didn't want you to get hurt. Chin-Chu leaned on the sofa and said with his head tilted. No, you didn't do anything wrong. I didn't know what was good for me. You did it for my own good and I shouldn't have been so pretentious. If you didn't help me, Jixin's surgery wouldn't have gone so smoothly. He wouldn't have paid all the surgery fees and the culprit wouldn't have been punished. Chin-Chu, you're really good to me. In fact, Huamin had already figured this out. She felt that no matter what Chin-Chu did, his intentions were always good. She was the one who didn't know what was good for her. You really think so? Chin-Chu was a little surprised. Huamin nodded. Then Huamin hesitated for a moment before continuing. I know that we're legally married and some things are bound to happen. I'm not pretending to be noble and I'm not rejecting you. It's just that I'm really not ready. Please don't make things difficult for me, okay? So, You think this is something that's difficult for you? When Qin Chu said this, a hint of loneliness flashed across his eyes. Huamin didn't say anything. She just bit her lip. Okay, I won't make things difficult for you. It's late, you should go to bed early. Good night. After speaking, Qin Chu turned around and went upstairs. Huamin knew that she disappointed Qin Chu again. A sleepless night. The next day, Huamin woke up early to prepare breakfast. When Qin Chu came downstairs, he saw the piping hot Chinese breakfast on the table. There were fried eggs, soy milk, and golden potato pancakes. Let's eat, Huamin said with a smile. At this moment, Huamin was wearing a pink apron and her hair was slightly messy. She looked completely like a housewife. Qin Chu was mad at her. He originally wanted to say that he didn't want to eat, but when he saw how down-to-earth Huamin was, he couldn't say no. This warm scene was something that he had always dreamed of. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Instead, he sat down at the breakfast table, picked up the soy milk and took a sip. I bought these beans at the supermarket. When I squeezed them out, the color was quite thick. I don't know if they're good or not. How is it? Does it taste good? Huamin asked carefully. Chapter 105. It's not bad. Qin Chu nodded. That's good, you should eat more. Huamin let out a sigh of relief and smiled. Then the two of them ate breakfast face to face. Qin Chu didn't say a word, but he would occasionally raise his head to look at Huamin. Huamin, on the other hand, ate with great appetite. He had been eating Western breakfast for a long time. It was rare for him to eat Chinese food that he made himself, and it was delicious. No matter how angry he was at her, as long as he saw her sitting quietly next to him, he would be happy. Qin Chu felt like all of this was a gift from the heavens. He had been looking forward to this day for 7 years. Now that everything had come true, he should be happy. How's your brother recovering? I heard he was discharged from the hospital, Qin Chu suddenly asked. He's recovering very well. I told him to stay at home for a while since there aren't any more classes at school. That's good. Qin Chu nodded. After breakfast, the two of them left the house together. Qin Chu had been driving a Maybach lately, so Huamin had been taking the bus to work for the past few days. I'll give you a ride if you don't mind the car. Huamin looked at the car and felt a little awkward. I can park the car somewhere further away, Qin Chu added. Huamin nodded, thinking that what he said made sense. On the way, Qin Chu turned on the music in the car. It was a classic English song called Hotel California. Because the melody was so good and it was one of Huamin's favorite songs, she subconsciously sang along. Onadark deser thigh kolwin din meherworms malof kolatasrasing up throat hera paheden the distances a washamering light mehedgru. Sukkalo veli facether splentio from Mothi Hotel Californiani timeo fi iraningmeo fi irigan find to share. It's very nice, Qin Chu suddenly said. Huamin came back to his senses and lowered his head in embarrassment. You sing very well, Qin Chu said again. Thank you. California is a very beautiful place. There is an endless sea, a blue sky, fresh air, and a slow pace of life. Qin Chu had stayed in America for 7 years and had basically traveled to every corner of America. Yes, I've seen it on TV. It's really beautiful. I'll take you on a vacation when I have time, Qin Chu suddenly said. Sure. Huamin smiled. Although she didn't know when this would happen, since Qin Chu said it, she didn't want to be disappointed. Do you have a driver's license? Yes. Huamin nodded. When she graduated from university, a driving school held an event at their university. It was half price, so she and Ning Ziyuan both took the test. Then I'll let you drive the CC. It's more convenient for you to have a car. Don't take the bus back and forth. It's a waste of time. No, we don't live far from the hospital. Plus, the hospital is tight on parking. A nurse like me doesn't have a dedicated parking space. I don't want to trouble you. Huamin smiled. Why don't you quit your job? Do you want me to be a stay-at-home housewife? Huamin looked at Qin Chu amused. No, I know you can't sit around, so I won't let you stay at home. You can come to GK and help me. Choose a department that you like. If you still want to work in medicine, I can set up a health department that specializes in giving GK employees medical checkups. I can even hire a doctor for you. Or I can even open a private hospital for you. Qin Chu was willing to do anything for Huamin. Huamin knew that Qin Chu was a man of his words, but it would be ridiculous for him to open a hospital for her. Even if he had money and nowhere to spend it, he couldn't do that. It's really okay, I really like my current job. It's very fulfilling. The truth is, some jobs can't be measured by money, they're fun. The OB/GYN department I work in is the most tiring department in the entire hospital, but I love it here because I can witness the birth of so many new lives every day. The joy is indescribable. Chinchu, if you really care about me, then let me do what I like. Really, this is great. Okay. Chinchu nodded, showing that he respected her decision. Chinchu slowly stopped the car. We're almost there, you can wait here. Mion, Chinchu suddenly called out gently. Huamin turned around, but before she could see what was going on, Chinchu kissed her on the lips. Chapter 106. See you tonight, Chinchu said softly. Huamin covered his blushing face with one hand and hurriedly opened the door and ran out of the car. Then without looking back he ran towards the hospital. Then Chinchu's Maybach turned around and drove in another direction. When Huamin arrived at the entrance of the hospital, he saw a silver BMW 730 slowly coming to a stop at the front of the parking space. Huamin was a little confused. This parking space belonged to the hospital director, and the director's car was an Audi A8. Just as he was wondering, he saw a woman get out of the car. She was very young and looked like she was in her 20s. Her eyes were small and her eyebrows were long. She was wearing a red dress that hugged her hips and was very eye-catching. The woman wasn't particularly beautiful, but she had a good temperament. It was obvious that she was raised by a rich family. Huamin was just about to walk in when he heard the woman say sweetly, "Xion, help me get my bag." Huamin turned around abruptly and saw Ning Xiuan get out of the driver's seat with a Hermes bag in his hand. Then he handed the bag to the woman, and the two of them walked towards the door hand in hand. The moment he saw Huamin, Ning Xiuan's expression changed slightly. However, it was only for a moment. Then he glanced at Huamin as if he was looking at a stranger. Then he held the woman's hand and swaggered into the hospital. Isn't he with He-Man? Huamin muttered to himself. Huamin had been doing fetal heart rate tests for pregnant women the entire morning. When he finally finished, he looked at the time and saw that it was already past lunchtime. "Mion, here I packed a portion for you. But the dishes today are really ugly. I hate cabbage." Huang Yu walked in with 2 lunch boxes. "Thank you, Yaya." Huamin smiled. Then she opened the lunch box and began to eat. Once a person was hungry, they would forget to be picky about food. Even though Huang Yu said the food tasted awful, Huamin ate it with gusto. At this moment, an uninvited guest appeared at the door. "Huamin, let's talk." "Are you here to fight again?" Huang Yu pouted when she saw He-Man. Huamin finished the last mouthful of rice. He slowly raised his head and said expressionlessly, "I have nothing to say to you. I'm not here to quarrel, nor am I here to pick a fight. I really have something to tell you." "Say it. Once you're done, hurry up and leave." Huamin wasn't polite at all. He-Man glanced at Huang Yu, then looked at Huamin and said, "Do you know? Ning Xiuan hooked up with another woman." "What does that have to do with me?" Huamin retorted. "Do you know who this woman is? She's President Wu's niece. He just came back from studying abroad in Japan. She's also a top medical student. I heard that she'll be assigned to the OB/GYN department." "So what?" Huamin didn't think this had anything to do with her. He-Man stared at her and continued, "President Wu really likes this niece, so Ning Xiuan hooked up with her because he wants to climb up the social ladder. This scumbag, I finally saw his true colors. I think the woman you saw at Ning Xiuan's house a few days ago was probably her." "So?" Huamin stood up and looked at He-Man curiously. "So, I came to you because I wanted to work with you to find President Wu's niece and expose Ning Xiuan's true colors. I didn't expect him to be that kind of man. Did you know? I've already slept with him and I gave my first time to him. He said that he would take responsibility for me and marry me. Then you should go find Ning Xiuan." "It's useless to find me," Huamin replied calmly. "I did, but he ignored me and didn't answer my calls. He even changed the lock on his house. Huamin, you're also one of the victims. If the two of us work together to expose him, maybe President Wu's niece will abandon him. At that time he won't be able to survive in our hospital, and he won't be able to dream of becoming the president's niece's son-in-law. What do you think?" Chapter 107. "Sorry, I'm not interested in that. Don't you want to take revenge? What did he do to you?" He-Man thought that it was because of her intervention that Huamin and Ning Ziyuan broke up. Therefore Huamin probably hated Ning Ziyuan. Ning Ziyuan and I broke up peacefully. There was no love or hate between us. I can't agree to your request. I still have work to do, so please leave. After speaking, Huamin sat down on the chair in her office and began organizing her files. You're such an unreasonable woman. Seeing that Huamin wasn't going to agree, He-Man glared at her and turned to leave. Huang Yu laughed. What karma, it seems like this woman was dumped by him. She even had the cheek to say that she gave her virginity to him. What the hell is she thinking? She's a homewrecker and she thinks she's superior? Huamin didn't say anything about this. Although she didn't like He-Man, she didn't want to say anything. However, the woman driving the BMW with Ning Ziyuan in the morning was definitely President Wu's niece. No wonder she took up the hospital director's parking space. Mion, your ex-boyfriend is really something. He managed to hook up with the hospital director's daughter so quickly. I heard that Wu Xiaoxue is very arrogant and hard to get close to. I didn't think that she would hang out with Ning Ziyuan. She must be blind. It's normal for people to fall in love. Huamin smiled. She was able to face this situation calmly. In the afternoon, Huamin's phone rang as soon as she came out of the OR. After picking up the phone, Huamin immediately asked for a short leave from the head nurse and rushed to the entrance of the hospital. Uncle Ning, Auntie Ning, Huamin called out to the two white-haired elders. Mion. The two elders immediately smiled happily when they saw Huamin. Uncle, Aunt, why are you here? Your aunt hasn't been feeling well recently, so I wanted to take her for a checkup. I haven't seen you guys in a long time, so I wanted to come and see you guys. I just called Ziyuan, but his phone was turned off. Then he might have surgery. He'll get back to you when he's done. The old man nodded. Ning Ziyuan's parents lived in a county undersea city. It took about 3.5 hours by car to get there. His parents had already retired. Ning Ziyuan was an only child and his family was quite well off. The old couple had spent all their savings to support their son's medical education. Later they bought a house and a car. Huamin would visit them every year. The old couple was very nice. Uncle Ning used to work at the post office and Aunt Ning was a teacher. Because they were civil servants, they were very reasonable. They were also very satisfied with Huamin, their future daughter-in-law. Seeing their attitude towards Huamin guessed that they didn't know that Ning Ziyuan had already broken up with her. Uncle, Aunt, you guys haven't eaten yet, right? I'll take you guys to eat something first. Okay, let's find a small restaurant. Don't waste food, Ning Ziyuan's mother repeatedly reminded them. In a home-cooked restaurant behind the hospital, Huamin ordered 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetarian dishes and a soup. She also ordered a bottle of liquor for Ning Ziyuan's father. The old couple was very happy. During the meal, Mr. Ning asked, Mion, have you guys finished renovating your house? When are you getting married? There's no rush. Ziyuan is still busy. Let's wait until he's done. You guys can't delay it any longer. Even if you're busy, you still have to get married. Your aunt and I talked about it. Our pension for the next few months is around 20,000 yuan. You guys can take it and go on a trip to Thailand for your honeymoon. It's okay. Uncle, Auntie, you don't have to take any more money. Keep it for yourselves. We can earn it ourselves. Huamin was very embarrassed. Child, what are you talking about? We're going to be a family from now on. What's ours is yours. Alright, I brought you some mushrooms and wild vegetables from the mountains. Ziyuan's aunt brought them back from Mount Ferret. They're green and very nutritious. Mrs. Ning took out a big bag and handed it to Huamian. Auntie, there's no rush. Just give it to Ziyuan when you see him. I have to go back to work in a bit, so it's not convenient for me to take these. Mion, did you two have a fight recently? Every time I call you, Zion stutters, Mrs. Ning suddenly asked. Chapter 108. No, Auntie, we didn't fight, Huamin lied. Really? Then why do I feel like something's not right? Mrs. Ning muttered to herself. You always overthink things. I told you it was fine. Mion is a sensible child. Of course she wouldn't fight with Ziyuan. Mr. Ning smiled. Upon hearing what he said, Huamin began to feel uneasy. After dinner, Huamin took his parents to the outpatient lounge of the first hospital. Then she went to the ophthalmology clinic. At this time, Ning Ziyuan had just finished a cataract surgery and came out of the OR looking a little tired. Ziyuan, what do you want? Ning Ziyuan was exceptionally cold. Uncle Ning and Auntie Ning are here. They couldn't get through to you so they called me. Upon hearing this, Ning Ziyuan took out his phone. Oh, I was in surgery so I turned off my phone. Where are they? I took them to lunch. They're now in the lounge of the outpatient lounge. Oh, how much did the meal cost? I can give it to you now. It's okay, they've been so nice to me. Treating them to a meal is nothing. Forget it, we're not friends, how could I take advantage of you? 500 should be enough, right? Then Ning Ziyuan took out his wallet, took out 500 yuan bills and threw them at Huamin. Thank you for taking care of my parents for me. If you don't have anything to do with them, try not to contact them. My family has nothing to do with you anymore, I'll explain everything to them today. Okay. Huamin nodded. What's up? Wu Xiaoxue walked over from not too far away. She was wearing a white lab coat and looked at Huamin in an extremely unfriendly manner. Oh, my parents are here. They couldn't get through to me. Then she is? Wu Xiaoxue looked at Huamin impolitely. She's my schoolmate from university. Then Ning Ziyuan turned around, grabbed Wu Xiaoxue's hand and left. Huamin took the 500 yuan and smiled helplessly. She had spent more than 200 yuan on the meal. Now Ning Ziyuan was giving her more than 500 yuan. He was really generous. However, since he had given it to her, she might as well take it. Thinking of this, Huamin turned around and returned to the gynecology and obstetrics consultation room. When it was almost time to get off work, the head nurse walked in with a young woman behind her. The woman was no stranger to Huamin. She was President Wu's niece, Wu Xiaoxue. Listen up, everyone. This is the new chief physician of our department. He will be seeing patients every Friday. Please cooperate with Professor Wu. Yes, head nurse. A few of the nurses replied immediately. Huang, you come here. You will be Professor Wu's personal assistant from now on, said the head nurse. Unexpectedly, Wu Xiaoxue smiled and said, Head nurse, I want Huamin to be my assistant. Professor Wu, do you know Huamin? The head nurse was surprised. Yeah, I know him. Wu Xiaoxue smiled, but it was a weird smile. Huamin was also slightly surprised. He did not expect Wu Xiaoxue to say something like this. Okay, if that's the case, Huamin, you can be Professor Wu's assistant. Do your best. The head nurse patted Huamin on the shoulder. I will, head nurse. Huamin nodded. After settling down, Huamin looked at the time. It was almost time to get off work, so he went to the changing room to get changed. As he was walking out, he heard Wu Xiaoxue run up to him and say, Huamin. What is it? Professor Wu. I have an academic conference in a bit, so I need you to prepare some documents. Stay here and help me print them out, Wu Xiaoxue said arrogantly. Huamin hesitated for a second. My colleagues in the office are in charge of printing the documents. It's not my job, Huamin said calmly. You are my assistant. You have to do whatever I want you to do. Otherwise, I have the right to fire you. Wu Xiaoxue was still smiling proudly. So, you're giving me a hard time because of Ning Ziyuan, right? Huamin asked straightforwardly. I didn't know you were so quick-witted. I heard that you're Ning Ziyuan's ex-girlfriend, right? Wrong, I'm his ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend is He-Man. It seems like you're not up to date. Huamin smiled. He-Man is nothing, she's just a toy. I heard that you've been with Ziyuan for a few years now. You're even talking about marriage, right? Wu Xiaoxue asked provocatively. Chapter 109. Yeah. Huamin nodded. Unfortunately, you won't be that lucky. The person Ziyuan likes is me. He said that you shamelessly pursued him for several years before he reluctantly agreed to be with you. Also, you've never slept with him, right? He said that once he saw your face, he didn't have the desire to touch you. Huamin pursed her lips and chuckled when she heard this. What are you laughing at? Wu Xiaoxue asked angrily. Is that what he told you? Huamin asked. Is that not true? Oh yes, whatever he says. Huamin didn't bother to explain. See, I knew you were a woman with a bad character. I don't know why my uncle's hospital doesn't look at people's characters when they hire. They hire just anyone, how annoying. Professor Wu, I will prepare the information you need as soon as possible. If you want to chat, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time. Then hurry up and prepare the information. Also, if you hate me because of Ning Ziyuan, then it's not wise. I don't pose any threat to you. Threat? Are you worthy? Do you have what it takes? You're just an average-looking woman with a mediocre background. You even went to a third-rate medical school. How dare you compare yourself to me? You know that I have a master's degree in medicine from Tokyo University. I'm the youngest professor in all the hospitals in Sea City. Do you understand? Of course you have to thank your uncle, the director of the hospital. You. Wu Xiaoxue was speechless. She didn't expect Huamin to be so eloquent. Professor Wu, I'm going to prepare the information. Bye. After Huamin spoke, she walked towards the office. Actually, preparing the information was easy. Huamin was done in less than half an hour. However, Wu Xiaoxue wanted her to do it because she wanted her to work overtime and give her a hard time. After preparing the information, Huamin placed it on Wu Xiaoxue's desk and got off work. It was rare for Huamin to come back early today. He went to the supermarket to buy some vegetables and meat. Then she prepared dinner at home. She waited until 6 o'clock, but Qin Chu didn't come back. Huamin was a little hungry, so he ate first. Then he put the food in the kitchen and went upstairs to take a shower and wash his clothes. Qin Chu was supposed to get off work at 5:30, but he received a call from his father and went back to the Qin family's mansion. Mr. Qin had just returned from a trip overseas and seemed to be in a good mood. When Qin Chu returned, he saw that in addition to his parents, there was also a father and daughter. This is Mr. Liu of Tianbao Real Estate, and this is Lu Xing, the daughter of your Uncle Lu. When Qin Chu saw Lu Xing, he was a little surprised. Lu Xing was his classmate in high school. Most of the students in number 2 high school were rich kids. Therefore it was not surprising that Lu Xing had a rich father. What was surprising was that they actually appeared in his house today. Uncle Qin Chu and I were high school classmates. Lu Xing smiled. She was wearing a light pink dress today and her hair was tied up in a ponytail. She looked like a teenage girl and even her voice was delicate. Qin Chu glanced at them but didn't say anything. Huh, really? What a coincidence, you guys were classmates. Mr. Qin looked very happy. I heard from Ying that your son is indeed a handsome man, Lu Xing's father complimented. It's time for dinner, come and sit down, Mrs. Qin said with a smile. Inside the dining room, the 3 members of the Qin family, Lu Xing and her father, stood in a circle. Lu Xing sat next to Qin Chu and looked at Qin Chu with admiration and adoration. He had a crush on Qin Chu in high school. If it weren't for Huamin, she would have been Qin Chu's girlfriend a long time ago. GK is doing well, you're amazing, Lu Xing complimented. Thank you. Qin Chu was expressionless. He didn't even take a bite of the food and he looked like he wasn't in the mood. Chu, why aren't you eating? Is the food not to your liking? Mrs. Qin asked. Dad, why did you ask me to come back? Qin Chu was a little impatient. Nothing, I just wanted to have dinner with your Uncle Lu, Mr. Qin said slowly. Oh, if that's the case, then you guys eat. I'm going to go now, I have something to do. Then Qin Chu got up to leave. Stop right there. Mr. Qin didn't expect his son to be so rude, and his face was filled with anger. Chapter 110. Qin Chu stopped in his tracks, but he didn't turn around. It's time to get off work. I asked your assistant, she doesn't have anything scheduled for tonight. What are you busy with? Qin Chu didn't say anything. Are you messing around outside? Mr. Qin asked angrily. Qin Chu turned around and raised his eyebrows. Dad, what do you mean by messing around? Have you been hanging out with those shady women outside? Don't be like those rich playboys who get involved with women in the entertainment industry. It's not good for you. Shady? Do you think your son has that kind of taste? Qin Chu thought it was a little funny. President Qin, I don't think your son is that stupid, President Lu said. Yeah, Uncle Qin, I know what kind of person Qin Chu is. When we were in school, so many girls liked him, but he ignored them all. Plus, the media never reported any scandals about him, so it's definitely not what you think, Lu Xing said. If that's the case, then sit down. Dad, I'm an adult. I have my own thoughts and actions. If you're an adult, then you should know what it means to behave appropriately and reasonably. Your Uncle Lu and his daughter rarely come to our house. Why are you running around instead of keeping them company? Mr. Qin scolded. They're your guests, not mine. I didn't invite them, so I have no obligation to keep them company. You? Hey, President Qin, it's fine. If your son has something to do, then just do it. We can't make things difficult for our son. Yeah, don't make things difficult for your son. Xing, go send Chu off. You guys are classmates, so you should have a lot to talk about. Mrs. Qin loved her son dearly, so she didn't want to make things difficult for him. At the same time, she wanted to create opportunities for her son and this socialite. Lu Xing immediately stood up and smiled. "Okay, Auntie Qin, I'll go send him off." Qin Chu turned around and left, not wanting to argue with his father any further. Lu Xing jogged the entire way and followed Qin Chu out the door. Qin Chu walked up to the Maybach, opened the door and got in. Lu Xing stood outside the car window. She was so excited that she didn't know what to say. "What's the matter?" Qin Chu asked with a frown. "Qin Chu, I've liked you for a long time." Lu Xing felt that this was a rare opportunity. If she didn't say something now, she might not have another chance in the future. She might as well confess her feelings now. "So," Qin Chu continued asking. "So I want to ask, can you be my boyfriend?" Lu Xing was a little nervous. She lowered her head and clutched the corner of her skirt tightly. "You sure dare to dream." Qin Chu looked at her coldly. "I just don't want to miss this opportunity. I've been thinking about you all these years. You think that if you like me, I will really like you, right?" "No." Lu Xing waved her hands frantically. "If that's what you think, then that's ridiculous. Let me tell you, I've only liked one person my entire life, and I'll be that way until the day I die. So, you should stop thinking about me and stop thinking about me. Otherwise, you'll suffer for the rest of your life. You're not ugly, your family is rich, and there are plenty of men out there. Stop pestering me and don't use your elders as a shield. GK doesn't need to marry into any rich family because none of you are richer than I am. What I need is a woman that I love deeply." "Even if that woman doesn't like you?" Lu Xing suddenly asked. She felt like Huamin no longer had feelings for Qin Chu. "It's enough that I like her. There's no room for a third person in our world. Don't try to do anything stupid and don't force me to do anything to you. That's all." Then Qin Chu rolled down the car window and the Maybach sped out at an astonishing speed. Lu Xing stared at the back of the car dejectedly. In her heart, Qin Chu was like a god, unreachable. She knew that no matter how outstanding or beautiful she was, Qin Chu wouldn't even look at her. On the other hand, Huamin wasn't as stunning, came from a poor family and had a bad temper. However, Qin Chu loved her more than his own life. She was so jealous that she was about to go crazy. By the time Qin Chu returned to Imperial Park, it was already 7:30 p.m. Huamin was sitting on the couch watching a TV show. When she heard the door open, she sat up and asked, "You're back? Do you have something to eat?" Yes. I'm starving." Qin Chu tiredly took off his jacket and said as he changed into his shoes. "But it's a bit cold, I'll go heat it up." Then Huamin stood up and walked towards the kitchen. However, when she walked past Qin Chu, he hugged her from behind. Huamin's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 111. "Don't move, let me hug you for a while." Qin Chu's voice was very soft, scaring Huamin so much that he didn't dare to move. "Qin Chu, did something happen?" She felt that something was wrong with Qin Chu's mood. According to his arrogant and cold personality, he shouldn't be like this. "Nothing, I'm just a little tired, so I want to hug you." Huamin was wearing loose yellow home clothes with cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants on them. He looked very cute. His hair was casually tied up in a bun, looking fluffy and messy. Qin Chu was wearing a dark purple shirt with expensive diamonds on the cuffs. He hugged her quietly from behind, greedily inhaling her unique fragrance. Then his frustrated heart suddenly calmed down. With Huamin by his side, he suddenly felt that the world was beautiful. "Mian, will you always be by my side like this?" he suddenly asked. Huamin opened his mouth, but he didn't know how to answer. Should he say that he would? That would be a lie. Huamin never thought that she could grow old with Qin Chu, because there were too many external factors and too many psychological burdens between them. Uncle Jing's death alone made it impossible for her to live peacefully with Qin Chu. What if she said that she wouldn't? She couldn't bear to because she felt that at this moment, Qin Chu was very fragile. So she decided to remain silent. After a while, Qin Chu slowly let go of Huamin and sat down on the sofa. He took out a thin cigarette from his pocket and lit it. There was something unfathomable in his eyes. Lu Xing and her father were just a pair of strangers to Qin Chu. He didn't even need to give them face. However, Lu Xing's words pierced his heart slightly. She said, "Even if the person you like doesn't like you back, is it okay?" This was actually what Qin Chu cared about the most. 7 years ago, Huamin loved him. He didn't doubt it at all. But 7 years later, who could be sure? 7 years could change a lot of things, even if Huamin wasn't with Ning Ziyuan. It didn't mean that she still had Qin Chu in her heart. After all, her family's misfortune was caused by his family. The culprits were his biological parents, so he couldn't take revenge on them. Looking at the woman he loved being by his side every day, he wasn't sure if she liked him or not. That feeling was really a terrible feeling. He was like an insecure child, worried that his lover would leave him at any time. Huamian, he brought the food he made for dinner and brought it up the table. He's and look. I made it casually. Try it, I'm not that good at cooking. Huamin pointed at the food, lacking confidence. Chinchu didn't say anything. He sat at the dining table, picked up a piece of vegetable and ate it quietly. Stir-fried vegetable, scrambled egg with cucumber, dry-fried yellow croaker and a three-delicacy soup. Because Huamin didn't like to eat meat, most of the food was vegetarian. Huamin wasn't sure if Chinchu could get used to it. Huamin sat to the side and watched Chinchu eat. It was the first time he felt so natural. Chinchu looked very good when he ate. He was very elegant, and when he lowered his head, his eyelashes were very long. Huamin sat to the side and rested his chin on his hand. He watched this man eat seriously as if he was watching a TV show. It was as if he forgot how embarrassing his gaze was. Do I look good? Chinchu didn't look at Huamin. Instead he suddenly asked. Huamin came back to his senses when he heard this question. He coughed twice and immediately got up. You can leave it here after you're done eating. I'll come down to clean it up in a bit. I'm going upstairs to take a shower. After he finished speaking, Huamin stomped upstairs. An hour later, when he came down from the shower, the dining table was already clean. The used bowls were also very clean. Huamin was very happy about this. Chinchu wasn't a male chauvinist like some men who thought that doing housework was a natural thing for women. In comparison, Chinchu felt that he didn't want Huamin to do these housework. At this time, Chinchu had already entered the study and started to organize the company's data. Huamin looked around and didn't see any housework to do, so he went back upstairs to his bedroom. Late at night, Chinchu opened the door and saw Huamin sleeping soundly. He quietly walked to the bed, flipped over and gently hugged her. Then he lay down beside her. Then he stared at her delicate face through the moonlight. Do I look good? She suddenly opened her eyes and asked him with a smile. Chinchu was stunned. He didn't expect Huamin to wake up. Or rather, she wasn't asleep at all. Chapter 112. Looking at Chinchu's handsome face through the moonlight, Huamin suddenly felt like she was in a dream. She had always been a light sleeper, so she knew when Chinchu came in. Now that she had suddenly woken up, she just wanted to prank Chinchu and see his reaction. But after seeing his reaction, she couldn't help herself. She didn't know if it was because the room was a little cold, but she actually reached out and held Chinchu's warm palm. The two of them lay face to face and quietly looked at each other. They didn't need to speak, but it was better than 1,000 words. They both knew that all they needed to do was look at each other quietly. Huamin's eyes were clear and bright, like the brightest stars in the night sky. Chinchu's eyes, on the other hand, were deep and misty, making people reluctant to look away after just one glance. For the first time, Chinchu felt at ease. He tightly held Huamin's fair hand, full of happiness. The next morning, Huamin woke up early as usual and made breakfast. When Chinchu came downstairs, he saw vegetable porridge, milk buns and soy milk. Get a maid, you're working too hard, Chinchu said as he ate. What's so hard about making breakfast? It's not tiring and it's just the two of us. It'll be inconvenient if there's an outsider. I have nothing to do when I'm resting, so I can do the housework. Huamin smiled. Chinchu didn't say anything else. I want to talk to you about something. Huamin stammered. Go ahead. Don't transfer your salary to my card anymore. What's wrong? It's too much. Huamin pouted. But you're my wife. If I don't give my salary to you, who should I give it to? Chinchu said matter-of-factly. You can keep it for yourself. You think I'm short of money? Chinchu frowned slightly. No, I just think it's too much. It's not good for me to keep it. I think it's good. Chinchu was stubborn. In the end, Huamin was defeated. Chinchu knew that Huamin would never ask for money, so naturally he asked the finance department to transfer his salary to Huamin's card. $1 million a month was more than she could spend. Plus, Huamin wasn't a wasteful person. She wanted to tell Chin not to do so, but Chinchu didn't care. Since the negotiation failed, Huamian had to think of another way. Hua's eyes azes tus back hua, as hua 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 as his huask. Huamin, what took you so long? Wu Xiaoxue immediately scolded when she saw Huamin walk in. Huamin lowered her head and buttoned her white coat as she replied, I'm not late. Do you know how busy the OB/GYN department is? Can't you be a little earlier? You have no professionalism at all. People like you are only fit to be a nurse, Wu Xiaoxue scolded in disdain. Huamin smiled slightly, there's nothing wrong with being a nurse. It's my wish. You have a sharp tongue. You'll suffer in the future. Let me tell you, I'm very strict. Chapter 113. Wu Xiaoxue was immediately enraged. What kind of attitude is that? I'm the chief physician and you're just my assistant nurse. Not only do you not listen to me, but you even dare to speak to me like that. How uncultured are you? So, Professor Wu, a cultured person like you only knows how to make things difficult for her subordinates and avenge her private grudges? Is it because I'm your boyfriend's ex-girlfriend? Huamin glared at her, clearly upset. You? Wu Xiaoxue was at a loss for words after hearing Huamin's words. Plus, what Huamin said was the truth. She was indeed using her position to avenge her private grudges. The surrounding nurses began to whisper amongst themselves, and Wu Xiaoxue felt a little embarrassed. What are you looking at? Don't you have work to do? Go away. Wu Xiaoxue looked at the surrounding nurses and scolded them impolitely. Huang Yu dragged Huamin away in a hurry. Mion, don't be angry. I think Wu Xiaoxue has princess syndrome. She's born with a strong sense of superiority, and she always sees you as her enemy. Plus, I bet He-Man has been bad-mouthing you. I even saw He-Man come to see Wu Xiaoxue yesterday. I don't know what they said, but that woman just wants to see the world burn. I don't care what they said. I just can't stand Wu Xiaoxue's way of doing things. It's just work and I'll just resign. However, there's no need for me to be bullied all the time. The head nurse is strict, but she has to follow the rules. Wu Xiaoxue's way of avenging her private grudges is a little too much and I won't tolerate it. Retaliating appropriately is also a form of self-protection, Huamin said confidently. Huang Yu nodded in agreement. Mian, you're right. Even if she's the hospital director's niece, she can't do whatever she wants. She really thinks she's a princess and she's spoiled. I support you. If you really can't stand it, you don't have to resign. You can apply for a transfer. I heard that the Southside Recuperation Center is short on people, and the salary is even higher than here. It's just that the work is a little tiring. Huamin shook his head. Forget it, let's not think too much about it. Let's take it one step at a time. After Wu Xiaoxue was transferred to the obstetrics and gynecology department, she caused a lot of trouble. Not only did Huamin become a thorn in her side, but the other young nurses were also tortured by her. Everyone complained in private and the head nurse saw it and became worried. The head nurse had talked to Huamin, mainly hoping that she would be able to maintain a positive attitude and not let the personal grudge between her and Wu Xiaoxue affect her work. Huamin agreed on the surface, but she was actually very annoyed. In the afternoon, Huamin did his ward rounds, took the temperature of the pregnant women in a few wards, and even put them on infusions. As soon as he returned to the consultation room, he saw Wu Xiaoxue storming in angrily. Huamin, she shouted rudely. What's the matter now? Huamin knew that Wu Xiaoxue was up to no good. I told you to disinfect this morning, but you didn't listen. After that, the pregnant woman in the operating room got an infection after the operation. Now they are looking for someone to blame. You are in big trouble this time, Wu Xiaoxue said with a frown. Huamin sneered. Why am I in big trouble? What does it have to do with me if the disinfection was not thorough? That is the problem of the cleaning team. The infection after the operation could also be a problem of the chief surgeon's technique. What does it have to do with a nurse like me? Huamin felt that Wu Xiaoxue was treating her like an idiot. Did she think that she did not even know this basic knowledge? Everyone is responsible, but I think you can't escape the blame either. Anyway, I will report this matter to the higher-ups. When the time comes, those people in the cleaning team, the doctor in the second operation, and you, the nurse who neglected your duties, will all be fired. Professor Wu, are you kidding me? What you are saying is too far-fetched. If you really don't like me, I suggest that you go directly to the director of the hospital and tell him that I am your boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. If I am an eyesore to you, you can just fire me. Why do you have to go through so much trouble and put all the blame on me? What's more, you have implicated so many people. You are so stupid. It doesn't matter what you say. You can't escape the blame. Anyways, I'm going to make a big deal out of this. You can't run away. Wu Xiaoxue looked at Huamian and smiled viciously. Chapter 114. Huamin smiled as well. Sure, let's make this a big deal. Once the media gets involved, not only will our hospital be famous but so will you. Of course, when the time comes, I will have a good chat with the reporters and show them the basic professional ethics of a doctor. Wu Xiaoxue didn't expect Huamin to be so difficult to deal with. He reacted so quickly that she couldn't keep up with him. If you think that I'm easy to deal with, then you're wrong. The truth is, I'm not that easy to trip up. Huamin looked at Wu Xiaoxue provocatively. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that her face turned white. Originally, Wu Xiaoxue didn't have much hostility towards Huamin. However, He-Man's repeated provocations made Wu Xiaoxue very unhappy. Although she knew that He-Man wasn't a good person, He-Man's words did have a lot of effect. He-Man said that Ning Xuan loved Huamin very much and chased after her for a few years. He-Man also said that Ning Xuan originally planned to use his new house for his wedding with Huamin. He-Man also said that Ning Xuan's parents loved Huamin very much and treated her like their own daughter. In the end, He-Man emphasized that even though they broke up, Huamin was still an important woman in Ning Xuan's life. A woman's jealousy was very scary. Wu Xiaoxue wasn't a very smart woman to begin with. Therefore, after being provoked by He-Man, she looked at Huamin as if he had killed her father. She really liked Ning Xuan. Although Ning Xuan didn't know how to sweet talk, he was very talented. She had read Ning Xuan's academic papers. They were very interesting. During a hospital conference, the director even singled out Ning Xuan to praise him. Moreover, a while ago, one of Ning Xuan's ophthalmological treatment plans had been approved by a foreign medical institution, and he had been invited to learn from it. Therefore, she admired Ning Xuan very much. In addition, Ning Xuan was not so clingy to her, which increased her interest. She moved into Ning Xuan's house and even met Ning Xuan's parents. Although the old couple didn't seem to like her, she was confident that Ning Xuan must marry her. At the door of the ophthalmology clinic, Wu Xiaoxue leaned against the door and looked at Ning Xuan, who was on the phone in his office. Then Ning Xuan hung up the phone and saw her. He got up and walked over. "Why are you here?" "Well, I'm not too busy today, so I came to see you." "Oh, come in and have a seat." Ning Xuan smiled. Wu Xiaoxue hugged Ning Xuan's neck coquettishly. "Xian, let's get married." Ning Xuan was obviously a little surprised because he hadn't thought about it. It was purely an accident that he got together with Wu Xiaoxue. Ever since he broke up with Huamin, he had been in a bad mood. The novelty of He-Man had also worn off, so after work he drove to the bar to get drunk. Unexpectedly, he ran into Wu Xiaoxue. Wu Xiaoxue recognized him and came over to drink with him. Later, when both of them were drunk, something happened naturally. He thought it was a one-night stand, but he didn't expect Wu Xiaoxue to stick to him and drive to his new house. After thinking about it, Wu Xiaoxue was the niece of the hospital director after all, and it would be helpful to his career. Therefore, Ning Xuan quickly kicked He-Man away and hooked up with Wu Xiaoxue, becoming the hot topic of the hospital's gossip. However, although they were together, he really didn't have the idea of getting married. At the moment, he only wanted to be promoted from an intern to a full-time doctor, then climb up the ranks, get rid of the chief doctor above him and become the chief doctor himself. What's with that expression? Don't you want to? Wu Xiaoxue was obviously unhappy when she saw Ning Xuan's expression. No. Then why are you pulling a long face? You don't look happy at all. I'm just not ready yet. But I'm pregnant. Wu Xiaoxue pouted and acted coquettishly. What? Ning Xuan only felt a buzz in his head. Chapter 115. I said I'm pregnant, Wu Xiaoxue repeated. You're not joking, right? Ning Xuan laughed dryly. Of course not, why would I joke about this? I didn't expect things to turn out this way. I've already taken birth control pills. Maybe the baby is lucky. But I think it's a bit too sudden. Wu Xiaoxue was unhappy when she heard this. She pushed Ning Xuan away. What do you mean? Do you want me to abort it? Let me tell you, I won't abort it. It's bad for my body. I'm an OB-GYN myself, I know that. That's not what I meant. Calm down. I can't calm down. Ning Xuan, just tell me, are you going to marry me or not? If you can't let go of Huamin, then go back to her. I'll help you guys. Ning Ziyuan replied helplessly, Xiaoxue, what does this have to do with Huamin? Don't think that I don't know that you're still thinking about that woman. No, don't let your imagination run wild. Huamin and I broke up a long time ago. Then why don't you want to marry me? Wu Xiaoxue asked aggressively. I just don't think I'm good enough. I'm still an intern and my house is on loan. I'm afraid that I won't be able to give you and the baby a good life. Do you understand? Wu Xiaoxue's attitude immediately changed when she heard this. She smiled and said, I won't despise you, Hun. I have both a house and a car. My parents bought them for me a long time ago. After we get married, you can live with us. You can keep your house for your parents. Also, you can change your car. My dad said that he'll buy you a Mercedes-Benz GLK. As for your job, you don't have to worry about it. I'll tell my uncle to tell him that all of Ning Ziyuan's dreams came true with a single sentence from Wu Xiaoxue. He suddenly realized that there was a saying that was true. A rich wife could save him at least 10 years of hard work. Why aren't you saying anything? Wu Xiaoxue asked. It's fine. I'm just a little embarrassed to ask for your help for everything. I'll look down on myself. Zion, don't overthink it. You're so outstanding. You should have these things, you know? I really admire you. You're a genius ophthalmologist. I've read all your academic papers. They're amazing. Even my uncle said that you're a genius and will definitely achieve great things in the future. Hearing Wu Xiaoxue say this, Ning Ziyuan felt even more uneasy. This was because those papers that were praised by others were not written by him at all. Those were all written by Huamin in the past. Now that Huamin was no longer by his side, he couldn't bring out anything new. He could only rely on his old stuff to attract attention. What do you think of my suggestion? Let's get married, okay? Okay. Ning Ziyuan squeezed out a word from between his teeth after a long time. Wu Xiaoxue was immediately overjoyed and hugged Ning Ziyuan's neck tightly. Just as Huamin was about to get off work, her phone suddenly received a WeChat message. It was from Zhu Lingling. She said, Mian, take a look at our classmates' group chat. Huamin didn't want to delay her work, so she blocked all notifications from WeChat. If she didn't look at it on purpose, she wouldn't know that there were new messages in the group. With Zhu Lingling's reminder, she immediately turned on her phone and opened the group chat. There was a photo of Qin Chu sitting at the dining table. The person who sent the photo was Lu Xing. After the photo was sent, her classmates immediately exploded and began to question her. Xiaoying, what's going on? Are you dating Qin Chu? Xiaoying, when did you eat with Qin Chu? Why didn't you invite me? You're so mean. Lu Xing, you're amazing. You even managed to ask Qin Chu out. You're not simple at all. Of course, they were just flattering her. Zhu Lingling, on the other hand, replied, Did you take this photo on the spot? Did you steal it from someone else? Chapter 116. This sentence obviously angered Lu Xing. She purposely replied to Zhu Lingling, Last night I went to Qin Chu's house with my dad to visit his parents. He happened to be home, so we had dinner together. Do you think I'd be so bored as to steal someone else's photos? Oh, so it was a business collaboration, Zhu Lingling replied. Obviously, everyone knew that Zhu Lingling and Huamin were best friends, so naturally, they wouldn't say anything nice to Lu Xing. It wasn't a business collaboration. My dad didn't go there for business. Our families have always been good friends, and Qin Chu's new car was awesome. He even took me for a spin. No photos, no truth, Zhu Lingling replied coldly. I won't post all the photos after all. It's a private matter between Qin Chu and me, Lu Xing bragged. Huamin felt a little uncomfortable upon seeing this. Last night Qin Chu did come home a little late, and when he came back he didn't look quite right. It turned out that he took Lu Xing for a spin. While Huamin was in a daze, Zhu Lingling sent him a WeChat message asking, Mian, is what she said true? Did your Qin Chu really have dinner with her? That woman is so disgusting. I'm not sure, I never ask about Qin Chu's matters. What are you talking about, aren't you married? Zhu Lingling asked again. Huamin smiled bitterly and replied with a voice message. You should know our relationship, we're not a loving couple. Anyways, it's weird. If you don't care about him, aren't you afraid that someone else will steal him away? You have to know how outstanding your Qin Chu is. I don't have a choice. If something like that happens, then I have a reason to get a divorce. That's pretty good. Mian, are you telling the truth? Lingling, let's not talk about him. Let's talk about you. I haven't seen you for the past few days. I miss you so much. Come out for a meal. Okay, I'll make a reservation. What do you want to eat? Zhu Lingling was extremely happy. It's my treat today. You can pick the place. All right, madam. See you later. Huamin put down his phone and began to change. When he walked out of the hospital, Zhu Lingling sent him the address. Hilton Hotel Seafood Restaurant. Huamin took a taxi directly. When he arrived, Zhu Lingling had just arrived. Madam, I'm going to rip you off today. No problem, eat as much as you want. Huamin smiled. Seems like Qin Chu treats you well. He can satisfy you endlessly with money, Zhu Lingling exclaimed. His salary is transferred to my account every month. Although I didn't earn those years, I think he won't mind spending a little bit every now and then. Huamin smiled. She and Zhu Lingling were both seafood lovers. In the past she didn't have much money, so Zhu Lingling always took the initiative to treat her. Now that she had money, she naturally wanted to repay her best friend with a big meal. It was a grand seafood platter filled with a dazzling array of seafood. In the middle of the platter was a 4-pound Australian lobster. Huamin and Zhu Lingling had a tacit understanding and immediately dug in without even saying a word. After eating and drinking to their fill, Huamin wiped the corner of his mouth and asked, "What's up with you recently? You haven't been sending WeChat messages. What are you busy with? Are you still buying things?" "No, I haven't been buying things recently. I'm busy dating." "Dating? You have someone in mind?" Huamin looked up and smiled curiously. Zhu Lingling smiled mysteriously and said, "Yeah, I have someone that I like a lot. But now isn't the right time, so I can't bring him to you yet. When the time comes for us to go public, I'll tell you everything." "Okay, then I wish you a happy relationship." Huamin picked up the glass of red wine. "Thank you, Goddess Hua." When it was time to pay the bill, Huamin's heart ached for a moment. Although she was mentally prepared and knew that the price wasn't cheap, she was still a little shocked by the amount of 39,800 yuan. "What's wrong? Does your heart ache?" Zhu Lingling touched her arm. "I might treat other people, but I definitely won't treat you. I just feel like we've been scammed and it's not worth it. If we went to the seafood market with 30,000 yuan, we could buy a lot of seafood. Even Dasha could probably sell a few buckets of it." "Ah, that's not the same. This is the Hilton Hotel, my lady." Zhu Lingling laughed. When they walked out of the hotel, Huamin got into Zhu Lingling's car. She drove a red Mazda Atkins. Huamin once joked that it was the standard configuration for a mistress. This model was very popular and was everywhere. Moreover, it was driven by young girls. However, Zhu Lingling's monthly salary was 15,000 yuan, so this car was really classy. "Mian, I really hate that bitch Lu Xing. Can you think of a way to torture her?" How?" "Upload your marriage certificate with Qin Chu to the group chat. Then she'll." Zhu Lingling smiled wickedly. Chapter 117. I don't want that. If word gets out, my mom will be the first to kill me. Huamin sighed as he sipped on his coconut juice in the passenger seat. "Sai, your old lady is still hung up over what happened 7 years ago. You can't really blame Qin Chu for this. Qin Chu was already overseas at the time, and Qin Chu's parents are just asking for trouble. You can't really blame him either. Your old lady is too traditional. If you ask me, it's a great thing that you and Qin Chu are getting married. He's handsome, rich, and most importantly, he's good to you and devoted to you. Things aren't as simple as you think. If things were that simple, then we wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. You're right, but she'll find out eventually. You have to be prepared when the time comes." "I'm still going to say the same thing. Maybe Qin Chu and I will get divorced before the truth is out," Huamin thought sadly. "What if you two accidentally get married and grow old together?" "Really?" Huamin didn't even dare to imagine what Zhu Lingling was talking about. The world is so big, there are endless possibilities. Don't worry about it. Zhu Lingling drove Huamin to the entrance of Imperial Park. After some sighing, the two said goodbye and Zhu Lingling drove away. As Huamin walked into the neighborhood, he took out his phone and casually glanced at it. Then he was shocked. In the classmate group chat, Qin Chu, who had been quiet all this time, suddenly sent a WeChat message. He only had one sentence. "Last night I had dinner with Huamin." Then this sentence exploded like a sudden clap of thunder. Didn't Seeing say that she had dinner with you? He even sent a photo. Yeah, was the photo photoshopped? The person in question denied it. Someone's going to be slapped in the face. Mr. Qin, did you get back together with Goddess Hua? Whittling, what's going on? Everyone was talking about it, but Lu Xing didn't say anything. She had wanted to post a photo to show off today, but she had not expected that she would end up looking for trouble. What was even more unexpected was that Qin Chu actually took the initiative to speak in the group. She thought that Qin Chu was not on WeChat. If she had known, she would not have sent that photo to cause trouble. Thinking of this, Lu Xing added Qin Chu again and wrote, "I'm sorry, forgive me." The Qin family didn't care at all and left the group. In the past, she had joined this group because she was paying attention to Huamin's every move. Now that she was by his side, he naturally wasn't interested in this group anymore. After Qin Chu withdrew, it caused a lot of speculation. There were even some gossipy people who asked Huamin what was going on. Huamin didn't know how to reply, so he left the group. To be honest, other than Zhu Lingling, she really didn't get along well with those people. Especially after what happened between her and Wei Dong last time, she felt even more awkward. Now that Qin Chu had left the group, she should take the opportunity to leave as well. This was probably the best opportunity. When Huamin opened the door and walked in, she saw Qin Chu standing by the window in the living room with a glass of red wine in his hand. "You're home?" she asked casually. "Last night I went home. Lu Xing and her father were there too. We sat together for a while, but we didn't eat. I came back to eat and I didn't take her for a ride. None of that happened." She didn't think that Qin Chu would take the initiative to explain this. It seemed like he had seen what happened on WeChat as well. "Oh." Huamin nodded, indicating that she understood. Qin Chu turned around and placed the empty wine glass by the wine cabinet. He walked over to Huamin. Then he picked up a box from the coffee table and handed it to her. "What is this?" "I bought it for you." After Qin Chu finished speaking, he turned around and went upstairs. Huamin wanted to refuse, but he was nowhere to be found.